So let's talk about something fascinating. How do you get millions, even billions of smart devices to work when they have less memory than a single photo on your phone? It sounds impossible, right? Well, today, we're diving into the story of Huawei LiteOS, the tiny, tiny engine that was built to power our massive connected world.
I mean, really think about that question. Your smartwatch, that smart thermostat on your wall, all these little gadgets that make up the Internet of Things, they all need a brain to function. But they don't have the luxury of a laptop's power or memory. So what's the solution to that puzzle? That's exactly what we're here to figure out.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll get into why you even need these specialized little operating systems. Then we'll meet Huawei's answer to that problem, LiteOS. After that, we'll peek under the hood to see how it works, see where it was used in the real world, and finally, we'll solve the mystery of what happened to it. You know, that subtitle kind of says it all. Why can't you just slap a regular computer OS on a smartwatch? Well, simply put, it would be a disaster. A big OS like Windows needs a ton of processing power, a ton of memory, and it just drinks battery life. That's the exact opposite of what you need for a tiny device that has to last for days or even weeks. The world of IoT demanded a whole new way of thinking. And that new way of thinking led to something called an RTOS, or a real-time operating system. Now, that real-time part is everything. It means the OS is designed to respond to commands instantly and reliably, every single time. You want your smart car's brakes to work now, not in a few seconds, right? These systems are built from the ground up to be incredibly efficient and dependable on the smallest possible hardware. They're really the unsung heroes of our connected lives.
Okay, so there's this huge growing need for a specialized brain for all these new IoT devices. So how did a giant like Huawei jump into the ring? Well, they built their own. They created a purpose-built RTOS for their vision of a connected future.
And this was it, Huawei LiteOS. In their own words, it was a lightweight, real-time operating system made specifically for the IoT world. Every part of it was designed to be small, to sip power, to connect to other devices seamlessly, and to make it super easy for developers to create new smart gadgets. And this wasn't some project they just threw together overnight. I mean, look at this timeline. They started working on it way back in 2012, and it officially launched in 2015. It was actively developed for years until its final version in 2020, which, as you'll see, was really more of a new beginning than an end. So what was the secret sauce? What made LiteOS so darn good at running on these tiny, low-power devices? Let's pop the hood and see what made this thing tick. Okay, look at this number. Just let it sink in. The kernel, the absolute heart of the operating system, was less than 10 kilobytes. To give you some perspective, a simple email with a few sentences of text is often bigger than that. It's just incredibly, almost impossibly small. And that tiny kernel was the key that unlocked everything else. Because it was so small, it used barely any energy, which is the absolute #1 priority for battery life. It could boot up in a flash, we're talking milliseconds. It knew how to talk to other devices using all the common languages of IoT, and maybe best of all, it was open source, so anyone could use it and build on it. And this chart right here shows you how they did it. Look at that, almost entirely C and C++. These are languages that give developers complete control, right down to the metal. This wasn't about fancy graphics or slick menus. This was about raw, brittle efficiency and speed. That choice of language is a straight line to the insane battery life and instant responsiveness we were just talking about. So all this tech is cool, but it doesn't mean much until you see it in action. So where did LiteOS actually show up? What real-world products was it powering? Well, it was everywhere. LiteOS became the hidden brain inside a massive range of gadgets. It was in wearables, of course, like smartwatches. It was in smart home devices. It was in connected car systems, and probably a ton of other little connected things you'd never even think about. And here is the perfect example of what all that efficiency meant for you, the user. This quote from The Verge says it all. The Huawei Watch GT 2 was famous for its absolutely legendary battery life. We're talking up to 2 weeks. That just crushed the competition. And the reason it could do that? LiteOS. So here's the twist. If you go look up LiteOS today, you'll see the project is listed as discontinued. But that word is, well, it's misleading. What really happened is a much more interesting story about evolution. This table really lays it all out. Yes, the standalone LiteOS project ended, but its soul, Its core technology was absorbed into something much, much bigger, OpenHarmony. So LiteOS wasn't thrown away. It was promoted. It became a crucial building block for Huawei's next-generation operating system.
Let's be really clear about this. LiteOS didn't fail and just disappear. It was so successful that it graduated. Its technological DNA became a fundamental part of Huawei's grander vision, living on to power a whole new family of devices under a new name. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. The story of LiteOS really makes you wonder, in the world of technology, do great ideas ever truly die? Or do they just evolve, becoming the foundation for the next big thing?